You've got to adapt. Look, we all get stuck in our ways, and while it's easy to fall into ruts, it's so very important to pull yourselves out of one. This is Dr. William Sheckmore, a man of indiscriminate age who was featured in many of my early movies. In one particular film, titled Ruthless, he came home from psychiatrist's RS after a particularly hard day.
What a deep work I had!
To discover a Dear John letter from his wife, Ruth, who sounded like an off-brand Marge Simpson, as you can tell from this voiceover of her note.
Dear William, I got so tired of you. You are never a good husband.
Upon having his world shattered, Dr. Sheckmore goes on a bender and passes out at a buddy's house. The next morning, when asked if he's going home, Dr. Sheckmore says this line that doesn't sound at all insane coming from my 12-year-old mouth.
But I didn't go back to my house. Too many goose.
After this, another friend, Bud Jordan, comes to help Dr. Sheckmore pick up the pieces of his shattered existence.
You may feel like you don't want to live anymore. Trust me, I know how it feels.
After a few other stops, Bud and the good doctor end up at a used furniture store where Dr. Sheckmore receives this key advice.
See, this is a love seat. It used to have a couch with it, but the couch got reupholstered. The love seat didn't match it anymore. Dr. Sheckmore, you and Ruth are like the couch and the love seat. You started out the same, but then Ruth got reupholstered. She changed, but you stayed the same. See what her needs are and change to them. You have to go to her needs. You can work it out. Then you'll be a match again.
Stay with me here. But you could argue that this bonkers analogy is actually good business advice. We get so used to doing things the way we've always done them that we turn around one day and realize we've lost the attention of our audience. We're not realizing that they were growing and changing without us. So keep an eye on the folks you care about, focus on bettering yourself, and if you need to, get yourself reupholstered. A few weeks ago, I was talking about all the things that entrepreneurs have to do that normally they wouldn't be doing.
The idea of me being a salesperson, prospecting, even cold calling, it is such a foreign concept.
Something equally as important that I cannot believe I'm getting into: accounting.
Hello.
Listen, even after I get through this entire book, you're still not going to want to hire me to handle your accounting needs, but I liken it to, I can't fix my own car, but I know when my mechanic is trying to rip me off. Unless, of course, your mechanic is actually you as a child in a fake mustache.
Rick, how you been?
You need to know enough about an important subject to be able to assess who the real authorities are. The people that you want to put your trust in when you're building a team around you. No business owner can truly do everything alone. They'll burn out. Anyway, I gotta get back to reading. We've been lucky to get to work with Goodwill Northern Michigan for over 2 years now, from documentary pieces to reality shows exploring their 8 different thrift store locations. One of the most important initiatives at Goodwill Northern Michigan is street outreach, working to end homelessness in our community. And you can't talk about street outreach without talking about Ryan Hannon, Goodwill Northern Michigan's Community Engagement Officer, and frankly, one of the best people I've ever met. Ryan's tireless work has really moved the needle on this cause, and now he's getting ready for a new project, a podcast, speaking with those currently suffering from homelessness that will allow listeners to get these stories straight from the source. We're really excited to be working on the tech and the post-production for this podcast, so I got to head over to Goodwill Northern Michigan this week and do a little field test with Ryan and the equipment, teach him how to work it, and then I got to turn the mic on him. Tell me a little bit about this podcast that we're going to be having for Goodwill.
Well, it's called My Former Life, and the idea is to be able to talk to people who are experiencing homelessness and talk about what it was like and what their life was like before they were experiencing homelessness.
What do you hope that listeners will take away from this?
I hope that listeners realize that people experiencing homelessness are human and they can see the human aspect of it. If we listen to people experiencing homelessness, we can see more similarities we have than differences.
For those who are wondering, Dr. Sheckmore and Ruth do reunite, The Doc and his friends are having a boys' night out when the crooner performing at this bar stops mid-song to ask a random woman why she looks so glum. Wouldn't you know it? But it just so happens to be Ruth.